Hello everyone and welcome back. Today's question comes from Discord, and it was sent by a student who said essentially, if a spirit says, I have a message for you, and you can't tell anyone else what the message is, or I will curse you, should I, believe that spirit, trust in that spirit, listen to that message, or should I think that that is a trickster spirit? So, great question. There's a lot to unpack here. So I apologize that, as usual, this is going to take a while. So before I get into that, I want to remind everyone that Ask a Witch is a little different from some of our other content, in that rather than us presenting historical facts, the history of something, how things were done by witches throughout history as best we can prove from archaeological records and historical records and cultural narratives, these are specifically geared to the person who's asked the question. So sometimes questions are sent in to me, sometimes questions are sent in to Yun, a few times questions have been sent in for apprentice Tina. Basically, we answer from our perspective. Like, this is how we would do something, this is our opinion. So these are incredibly biased. So are the rants. So the rants and the Ask a Witch are the biased ones. And I have a rant I will be filming hopefully this weekend. I've been meaning to for a while. But I digress. Let's get into this. Let's unpack this a little bit. To start with, a spirit approaches you and says, I have something to tell you. So, first off, my advice to witches, from my own perspective, take it or leave it, do what works for you, etc. Understand that not everything in the spirit world means you well. One of the things that I fundamentally disagree with when I see other witches talk on TikTok, Facebook, Tumblr, various other places, real, person-to-person interaction as well, although I've largely retreated from the occult community. And they're welcome to their opinion, it's just not mine, is the idea that all spirits mean you well, and that you should take anything said by the spirit world, that you should listen to every thing that they tell you, that you I see, when we owned a witchcraft store, I would literally have people come in shopping and they'd be like, oh, spirit says that I should get this, but my wallet says I shouldn't. And their friends would be like, well, if spirit says that you need this tool, then you need it, and you're just gonna have to rework your budget to make it work. And they were like, yeah, you're right, I should trust in spirit. Is spirit paying your rent or your mortgage? Is spirit paying for your health insurance? Does obeying spirit come with dental? Does obeying spirit come with any kind of a protection clause? Is there insurance on this? If this leads you astray, is there a version of travel insurance? If you have to cancel a trip or something goes horribly wrong and they pay you back? Is there a version of that when working with spirits? No. Not everything in the spirit world has your best interests in mind. Spirits are like people in that they come in just as much variety as any people you have ever met. Some have really good intentions, but their good intentions don't necessarily align with what is actually good for your life. Like, we all have that friend, relative, coworker, etc., who means well and they're acting from a good place when they give you advice that would be absolutely terrible for you to take. That happens. And there are people who think that they mean well while espousing bigotry, hatred, while acting from a place of fear and ignorance. And they're like, but I have good intentions. And it's like, you're still doing harm, and your good intentions matter, but they don't actually erase the harm you're doing. Spirits are like that too. And then there are spirits just like every asshole you've ever met who are fucking with you just for the hell of it, because they think it's funny, to actively hurt you, to lead you astray, to guide you to do something for them that they want, that are manipulating you because for whatever reason, you acting in this fashion serves their goals. If you can imagine it as a human motivation, it can come from the spirit world. And this idea that all spirits mean you well, I don't find it in ancient witchcraft in most cultures. I have done a lot of research into historical witchcraft, and this idea that you should just like go along with whatever the spirits tell you all the time, whenever, without any discernment of your own, it's just a relatively new concept. That's not... Look, I neither believe that just because the ancients did it, that means it's correct and we should do it too. For example, as a form of contraceptive, we should not be sticking crocodile dung up inside ourselves. That's not a good idea. There are better ways. I believe that we need to update what we're doing as we learn new things. That being said, if almost every culture in the world says, hey, take what the spirits say with a massive grain of salt because it might be a bad spirit that has bad intentions in mind, well, maybe you should pay attention to that because, you know, there's a lot of anecdotal evidence backing up that perspective. But I digress. So a spirit comes to you and says, anything, take it with a grain of salt. Maybe consider having some kind of protections or wards on yourself so that only certain kinds of spirits or only spirits with certain intentions can even approach you in the first place. I am constantly updating and amending and adjusting my own as I encounter new ways that the spirit world fucks with me that I had not predicted. So is this a perfect system? No. No, it is not. Has it helped me significantly? Yeah, I get woken up a lot less often than I used to. So progress, I'll take progress. Anyway, I digress again. Take anything they say with a massive grain of salt. Consider putting some protections or wards on yourself so that only certain kinds of spirits and only those with certain intentions can approach you at all. That is my advice. Take it or leave it as you will. And says, I have a message for you. From whom? From whom? One of the lessons that my great-grandmother, who was not a witch, I want to stress that. My great-grandmother she referred to herself as a good Christian woman. Now, her Christianity didn't resemble the Christianity that I've seen from a lot of people. One of the lessons that my great-grandmother taught me that was very, very important to me and has been important to me all my life is to consider the source. I would come home desolate over something that someone had said to me, and she would say, well, consider the source. And I would say, what? As a kid, and she'd say, well, is this a person whose opinion actually matters to you? Why does it matter to you? Do you trust them to be giving you an unbiased opinion? Do you think that they have motivations beyond your well-being and happiness and personal fulfillment to have said this thing to you? Will this person matter to you in 10 years? Are you going to reshape your life for someone you don't even like? This was very helpful to me as a child, although it certainly didn't help me fit in any. at all. And I've kept it in mind with the spirit world as well. This spirit has a message for you. From whom? Is it someone or something that you want to be receiving messages from? Because let me tell you, sometimes you need the spiritual equivalent of a block button. And you need to say, nope, 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 I'm not engaging with this. I'm not giving it any of my energy. I'm not giving it any time. I'm not giving it any spoons. I'm not giving it any brain space. Moving on. Block, nope. And I encourage a lot of people like to turn to magic when the block button will do. Just block, 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 and move on with your life. But if it's not a message from someone or something that you want to be receiving a message from, just say no. The next thing, and they tell you that you have to keep it a secret. From whom? Is a spirit saying, I want to teach you something, but if you tell your family that is vehemently, fundamentally extremist Christian about the witchcraft that I'm teaching you, they will hurt you. Fine, that's a good reason to keep a secret. If it's, I want to lead you to this secret store of treasure, and if you tell anyone, they'll try and steal it from you. Okay, you should have trusted friends who will go take a treasure with you and not steal it from you. That's a goal in life. But also, okay, sure, right? Do you have any kind of evidence that this treasure trove exists? Because I've certainly never had any spirits deliver the lotto numbers to me. That'd be great. Why do you need to keep it a secret? Who is the message from? Why do you need to keep it a secret? Or I'll curse you. Oh, well, now we've involved coercion. Are there times that coercion is appropriate? Sure. You're hiding people in the attic from the Nazis, and someone decides that they're going to report you, and you have coercion that you can use to stop them from reporting until such time as you can get those people to a safe haven. Good time to use coercion. An extreme example? Yes. But relevant? Yeah, okay, that's a good time to use coercion. You can't tell anyone what I'm about to tell you or I'll hurt you. No. No. See, I don't take being coerced lightly. And I don't think that other people should either. And yet coercion is casual in our culture, which is a rant for another day. We should be able to say, no, I don't want an alcoholic drink. No, I don't want a hug. No, I don't want your advice on my migraines. No, I don't want you to touch my kid, without any social consequences. And that isn't true in our culture. And unfortunately, our spirituality and our religion is often, though not always, also coercive. I've seen so much coercive pressure in a religious and spiritual context. And before anybody says, oh, well, that's just Christianity, nope. I'm talking about covens, temples, circles, groves, cults. And in many cases, to back up the person's coercion, the priests, the priestesses, the pastor, the witch queen, they say, well, God, the gods, the spirits, they said you have to do this, and so you have to. I am acting as their mouthpiece in the world, and so you have to do what I said. And we all get into this like, okay, so if God or the gods or the spirits said so, then I have to do it, right? That is so ingrained in our culture. No, you don't. And if I could teach one lesson through Sanctum of the Craft, it would be to throw off these chains and make up your own damn mind. If you don't want to do it, then don't. And sure, there's some basic humanity things where, your freedom of expression ends at someone else's nose. But we are so coerced and manipulated and caged and bound everywhere in our lives. And then the spirits come along and they're like, you better do what I say or I'll curse you. No. If you're going to be acting as a witch in the world and interacting with these spirits, learn to defend yourself from whatever they're going to throw at you. Is that a perfect system? No, it's not a perfect system when you're learning martial arts either. You have to practice and you're going to take some hits. But it is my personal advice to learn to say fuck off to things that threaten you like that. If it isn't a message that is actually going to help you and serve you, and if they have your happiness and health and well-being in mind, then they should also trust you to make up your own damn mind and determine who can be trusted with that information without threatening you. Threats are not a great place to start a spiritual relationship. And then the last part of the question, which we are going to unpack, is, or are they a trickster, right? They don't have to be a trickster to be playing a trick on you. They don't have to be a trickster entity or a trickster deity or a trickster spirit to be harming you. Now, I do ascribe to, if you can, figure out what it is, and if you can figure out what it wants, and if you can figure out what the limits on its abilities are regarding you, and if you can figure out how to defend you and yours from it, figure out source and kind. So if you go, this feels like a trickster, okay, investigate that. Determine if it is a trickster entity. And they have their own rules. But it doesn't have to be a trickster for me to say, don't do what it says. Now, does this mean, all of what I've said, that this spirit is absolutely a harmful, malicious, subversive entity that means you harm? No. It could be that it has its reasons. So if you want to sit down and investigate the matter, there are methods of spirit communication that you can use to do so. But I would never agree to, I'm going to tell you a secret that you can't tell anyone else, or I will curse you without a lot more information. A lot. Okay. I think that I've answered the question as best I can. If you have more information that you want from me, or if you would like to hear Yun's opinion on this, let us know, person who sent the question in. And if you have a question for Ask a Witch, please feel free to drop it in the comments below or send it to us via email at staff@sanctumofthecraft.org. Again, that's staff@sanctumofthecraft.org, or you can message us on Discord or Instagram or Facebook. We do try to keep track of the questions. They all get dropped into a Google Doc, and we try to get to all of them eventually. We're working on it. Please remember to like and subscribe, and be safe out there, everyone.